So, are Democrats and liberals a threat to American prosperity? Well, our next guest sure thinks so. We're joined now by my old pal, syndicated columnist and conservative pundit, Ann Coulter. Ann's newest book, Demonic: How the Liberal Mob is Endangering America. And it was just released yesterday. Not the liberal mob, but the book was just released yesterday. All right, Ann Coulter, who's the liberal mob? Why are they demonic? What are they doing in this country?
Well, the book is a 200-year history of liberals, starting with the French Revolution. And you'll see the similarities for 200 years, that Democrats and liberals are always the party of the mob, are always ginning up their base with offers of immediate gratification, and we're going to storm the barricades. And I use the father of groupthink, Gustave Le Bon, to go through the characteristics of a man in a crowd, a mob, which includes contradictory thinking and creating messiahs, turning those they disagree with into enemies. And you just see page after page, oh, this is liberals, this is liberals, this is liberals.
Are the conservatives clean in terms of the slogans and the mob? Seriously?
Yes.
Are they completely clean?
Yes, yes. And I do think I'm pretty good at being fair to both sides, but I would take the messiahs. Do our conservatives have sex dreams about even Ronald Reagan, a better president than Clinton and Obama?
Do you mean the Messiah who rose from his death, or do you mean the Messiah in the White House now? Which Messiah?
I mean the way liberals turn their political leaders into messiahs, going back to Andrew Jackson. Accounts at the time in newspapers would say how the crowds greeted him as if he was their father, and it's the same thing with Obama. They're fainting. They're naming babies after him. He hadn't even done anything. He was just running for office. Both Clinton and Obama, it was reported, women are having sex dreams about them. Do we have sex dreams about Calvin Coolidge? About George Bush?
Actually, Calvin Coolidge is one of my favorites. But let me ask you
But you don't have sex dreams about him, Larry.
No, I do not have sex dreams about that or anything else, as far as I know. I was asking you, though, essentially, you talk about the liberal mob, so-called sloganeering. Slogans are a key part of it. And that Democrats say that it was George Bush and the Republicans who drove the economy into a ditch. And then you make the case that actually it was Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and the Department of HUD that destroyed the housing industry and may have driven into a ditch. And then, and this is where I want to go, I didn't know this, all these Democrats who were defending Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and other banks, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, JP Morgan, UBS, the defunct Lehman Brothers, Credit Suisse, they all, as it turns out, were huge givers to the Democratic Party.
Oh, yes.
Now, are those big banks part of the liberal mob?
Yes, in a sense. I mean, they have the mob mentality. They throw themselves into the Democrats' arms. They care about status. There's a whole chapter on the status anxiety of the left, featuring your old co-host, in fact. He's a big part of that chapter. But the Wall Street's joined at the hip relationship with the Democrats is an example of another mob attribute, which is contradictory thinking. I mean, you still hear to this day, Republicans Party of Wall Street, Republicans Party of Wall Street. Well, Obama took in the largest haul in world history from Wall Street. Goldman Sachs was Obama's second largest contributor, right after University of California, and University of California has 100 more employees. And all of these big banks are huge donors.
So the Democrats love to blame the banks, but part of the liberal mob group think they don't understand is it's the bank, or at least the heads of the banks, that are giving all the money to the Democratic Party. Now, that is a little weird. That is a little weird
absolute
and
contradictory thinking. Now, both sides, of course, will be quicker to defend their own side, will be quicker to attack the other side, but to have TV stations interviewing Barney Frank and Chris Dodd on the financial reform bill, when if you had to pick 10 individuals most responsible for the financial collapse, those two would be in the top 10. And here they are being interviewed on the
Kudlow Report all the time. But I didn't know that Democrats made so much money from Wall Street. All right, folks, stick around and you stay. We're going to bring in Congressman Charlie Rangel right next. I'm going to ask the Congressman and Ann Coulter a big question. If elections were held today, would President Obama win? And would he deserve to win? When we come back, Coulter, Rangel, and Kudlow.
Yes, we can.
President Obama came into office with promises of change we could believe in, but despite all his promises, have we really seen the change America expected or wanted? President Obama has some big problems. Take a look at this partial list. High unemployment, high gasoline prices, massive spending and deficits, and rising health care premiums. So, 2012 election likely to be decided by the economy. Would President Obama deserve to win again? Could he win again? Joining us now for an exclusive Kudlow matchup, we have New York Democratic Congressman Charlie Rangel, a great friend, and Ann Coulter, another great friend, is still with us. Charlie, it is great to see you, but you have to tell me, with high unemployment, gasoline prices, and insurance premiums and deficits, how's your man ever going to be reelected, Charlie?
I think it's so unfair, Larry, for you to bring in Ann and just knock me out of the water. That must be a real threat to you for you to have to do this. But in answer to your question, there is no question in my mind that if the election was held tomorrow or very soon, that the president would win overwhelmingly. Your next question was, would he deserve to? And I would say no, because the Republican has not put up any candidate that is not an embarrassment to the entire system. So I do hope that the quality of candidates improve. And even though the economy is bad and it runs against Obama, I think the direction in which he's taken us, if you take in consideration what he inherited, I think that the economy is moving in the right direction.
All right, Charlie, because I value your friendship, I just want you to know, I'm going to be completely neutral in this, completely neutral. Ann Coulter, you heard Congressman Rangel. What's your response? I guess he's saying the Republicans don't have a candidate. I think that's one of his points.
Yeah, I should have known that if anyone could talk his way out of this economy, it would be Charlie Rangel. All that matters is the one we put up to actually run. It's not like the Democrats haven't had a lot of joke candidates. And I don't think we have joke candidates, but all that matters is the one we finally put up to run. And wow, with Obama hitting the Carter trifecta on the economy, I am now expanding my reach on whom I think could beat Obama. I used to say, if we don't run Chris Christie, we're not going to win. Now, Romney could definitely beat him, and I said that a few months ago, not waiting for the polls to come out. I think at this point, Donald Trump could beat him.
Charlie, in some of the polls, President Obama runs even with any Republican candidate, sort of an unnamed candidate X. And Charlie, I want to ask you about, does Mr. Obama deserve to be reelected? Economy and the jobs looks terrible. The economy is sputtering, unemployment is high, gasoline prices are high. How do you react to that? How are the Democrats going to deal with that?
I'm telling you, it's great difficulty, but I don't see how you can, if you say that Donald Trump would be the type of candidate that the Republicans would feel comfortable in supporting, I really think that's embarrassing to our system. I'm not trying to talk my way out of anything. You can't beat something with nobody, and if you got to make up in candidates as to wondering and staying awake at night who can beat President Obama, that's a different discussion. So, but I'll take this and I'll discuss it with you, because thank God I don't have to discuss your book, because
oh, you're gonna love it, Charlie.
I can imagine.
By the way, just to clarify, I did not say that the Republicans, the candidate that really stands for our party is Donald Trump. I said the economy is so bad, even Donald Trump can beat him. And, you know, an example of that is he's losing even the young people. I point out in my book that because Democrats are the party of the mob, their base are all the most easily alarmed, naive, easily fooled voters. It's like illegal immigrants who don't speak English, soccer moms, and young people. It's great that he's putting the whole Medicare bill on young people. It's fantastic to have a base that is absolutely not paying attention to politics and is just voting for Obama because he's cool. But gosh, they're all out of work now. And according to a poll yesterday, well, admittedly, his support among college kids has fallen from like 98% to 88%, but it's falling.
You're really debating yourself. Please send me a copy of your book, because the way you started off, it sounded as though the Democrats were the revolutionaries and the Republicans were King George. But really, if you want to get back to who we support, you probably are right. because when it gets to what a country is all about, it's about our middle class. It's really about jobs, 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 access to education, and whether or not a country has the moral responsibility to take care of our aged who's dedicated their lives to make our country so strong. We as Democrats are proud of it. I think if you take a look as to what happened in the open seat, where unfortunately the entire campaign was on the question of Democrats protecting Medicare. It shouldn't be a one-issue campaign, but I just can't see whether you're proud of anything that's in the Rhine budget and what it does to America. It doesn't do it to Democrats. It does it to Democrats and Republicans, the whole lot.
Just 2 quick points. That district, the 26th or whatever it was, that has been totally misportrayed in the media. The Republicans ran a pro-choice Republican in one of the most pro-life districts in the entire country, and yet it's all coming down to Medicare. And look, the way you Democrats talk about Medicare and Social Security, I love you, Charlie, but it is classic example of groupthink. Look, it's going bankrupt. The designers of Medicare and Social Security knew that it was a Ponzi scheme and it was going to go bankrupt. Now you have to pay the piper, and Republicans are at least trying to come up with some system and not just wait for it all to go away, but Democrats don't care. As long as Democrats can keep being elected by showing, commercials of Congressman Paul Ryan pushing the old lady out in the wheelchair off the cliff, they'll keep winning elections, and it just goes bankrupt. This is the total mob mentality.
Last 20 seconds, Charlie. You get the last word.
You're really moving close in of insulting the American people and say that they've been conned by commercials and that they have no understanding of what Medicare is.
Only the Democratic base.
All right, I got to get out. I'm out of time.
We count the bottom
Charlie
line.
Rangel, thank you very much. Ann Coulter, I was completely dispassionate. I am Larry Kudlow. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night.